Okay.
Hey.
Hey, hooray.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I think that's it. How many people? we got?
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. I will.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Miriam. Hi, Henry.
hey, there we go.
I can only see one of you at a time.
Put it on gallery view.
I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. I might just put myself out if I start touching anything.
So we're not recording this, I gather, right? We don't, need
Uh,
it,
I think you can.
The red light is flashing.
but is it necessary?
I don't think it is,
Okay.
personally.
I think the town usually likes you to.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, the first that I'm hearing.
Actually, it is recording. It,
Yeah.
I
Flash-
think-
Rick said.
I guess that's probably the case.
Okay, so it's being recorded on whose recorder?
well, I guess it's the town's. It'll go on the town's section of Zoom. Someplace that Zoom.
Someplace in the cloud.
No,
Okay. Wow. I find that quite interesting.
no, it's, welcome to the new world.
Well,
So
So-
Craig is coming too. He should be arriving soon.
I would have dressed up a little more. I'm barefoot.
We can't
All
tell.
Oh, good.
And
So we're
Karen-
waiting.
Karen
We're-
would-
I'm sorry.
That's right. Karen also is supposed to be coming in. I gave her the Zoom information yesterday and she'll be calling in. And Craig said he would be here. He could be here till a little before 8. He has another Zoom meeting at 8.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Hi.
Good.
Hi, Marianne.
Thanks.
Hi, Marianne.
Henry, I don't know if you know, I'm also have to attend the Concom meeting, which is already started. So I can only participate for about 15 minutes.
Okay, we'll get started soon, and you'd start. I'm not sure what we're doing. I'm not exactly officiating, but I assume you'll be saying a few words, addressing the group here. We'll
I
have
guess
you.
you could, yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll just start with the membership thing. So while Miriam and Craig are here, and try to go through that. And if people have any questions for anyone, you know, of the candidates, you know, last questions or whatever, they can do that before we figure out, you know, how we're going to handle the voting and the positions. But right now we have 3 people who have turned in letters of interest. John Warwick there hasn't done it yet, but he's interested in helping in whatever capacity. And we'll have 3 positions opening up after this meeting. So we can talk about that a little more once we get Craig and Karen on.
I'm technically officiating this through Zoom, not necessarily officiating the meeting, but I'm waiting to see Karen show up on my list of participants and then to admit her.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the way it works.
I guess so.
Yeah, Karen would be doing it via landline, I do believe. Unless, is she at a library on a computer, Janice?
No, they don't have a computer.
Uh-huh.
It'll just show up. It'll show up as a telephone call.
Yeah.
I see.
In fact, somebody is on an iPhone here. Who is it?
That's me.
That's her.
Okay, there you go.
I inherited it from my grandson.
Nice.
He just about put it in the waste barrel. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. Lucky you.
I know.
So Miriam, I guess we need more members.
Is that right? You guys don't have a quorum?
Well, let's see, the three of us here.
Well, isn't
Yeah.
Janice counting?
No. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot I
there's
count.
4 of us right now.
Oh, it's four,
Yep.
actually.
Yep.
Is that a quorum, Janice?
That is a
That's
quorum.
right.
Yep.
Why don't we go ahead with Miriam's exposition and questioning?
I'm back.
Inquisitioning.
Where have you been?
Where have you been?
Yeah.
Very good.
So I don't know what you guys want me to say.
I
I'm
sent
inter-
around the sort of the summary and then the rest of what you had sent to the select board.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's read that or not, but maybe you could just say a few words along that line of, your previous experience and why you're interested in serving now. Something
Okay.
like that.
Well, much of this is already known to you, so I feel a little sheepish sort of going over it again, but just for the record. So I've lived in Shutesbury for about 33 years. I'm a retired psychologist and educator and program manager. Used to direct a training institute and a clinical program for a long, long time. So I have a lot of experience working in the nonprofit world with grant writing, grant administration, research, etc. I've had a lifelong interest in history. I'm a very avid genealogist, amateur genealogist, and that's one of my favorite hobbies, actually. And I have academically was a history minor and an anthropology minor in college, in addition to studying psychology. I should just note I have a lot of familiarity with archaeology. I kind of grew up in an archaeological family, had kind of an aunt in the family that was an archaeologist, and my brother is an archaeologist, and grew up in an area where there was kind of a decent sized Native American community. So I'm sort of sensitive, I think, to some of those issues. I'm at least aware of them and interested in preserving both pre-historical, pre-Western colonization and post-colonization cultural resources in Shutesbury. What else can I say? I have to be at the CONCOM meeting because I'm also considering joining the CONCOM. So I think that might be an interesting interface if I were to be appointed to be able to sit on both committees and be able to liaise between the two committees. I think would be helpful for the Historical Commission, especially as there's some large development projects coming up that are going to be going through the CONCOM, I believe. What else can I say?
That you were the chair before.
I was the chair of the Historical Commission for a short while. Yeah, there was that. So I feel like I could hit the ground running. I understand how town government works, I think, and have an appreciation for what the Historical Commission does. I had unfortunately had to step back last year because my husband was having some serious health problems. We had a rough year. Hi. And so kind of needed to pare back some of my commitments for a while until we kind of knew what that was all going to be about, but he's doing great.
Good.
So I don't have to worry about that. So I'm interested in getting involved again.
Okay, great.
Good.
Let's
Yeah.
see. And Karen is here, I see now too.
Hi, Karen. This is
Hi.
Miriam.
Good.
Yeah,
We all made it, I think. Wow, that's great.
good. Had to try twice.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking at time and I'm going to have to, I've got about maybe 5 more minutes. So if anybody has any questions for me or if there's anything you need to know, I understand that there's a lot of transitions going on here, and sorry to see Craig and Janice having to leave,
And Chris too.
and Chris too. Those are big losses. You guys have been great.
Does anyone have any questions or whatever for Miriam? No? Okay. Maybe we can just go one more time around. Does anyone have any other questions for Greg? And then we can also ask about John Warwick here too. Any questions for either of the other two candidates?
Well,
We've heard their backgrounds and interests before, so okay. So maybe what we can do is, I tried to send around that thing. I know it's very colorful and some people hate color and bold, so I'm sorry if it was really horrible. But what I was trying to do was to sort of sort out, okay, how many positions do we have open, when, and how do we fill them? And so what I checked with the town administrator and with Linda, the administrative secretary, yesterday, and I emailed I called both of them and left messages this afternoon, but didn't get a response. So as far as I know right now, there's one place that's ready to be filled, the vacant place that was taken by when Kristen left. And then there will be two more after the meeting today, because Craig and Chris are leaving, and they said they'll turn in their resignations or whatever to the select board after the meeting tonight. So there'll be three places, and then I am leaving. And we talked last time about my being able to stay till December. And since there's room here with three people right now, willing to come on or wanting to come on as full members, and John Warwick has told me that he'd be willing to be a full member, an associate or whatever, and still help. So for now, I'm just looking at the first cut as Miriam, Greg, and John Walter for the vacant position for Chris's and for Craig's. And so I would say that if they got their letters of resignation into the select board after the meeting, we could plan on, maybe what we can do is send a letter, depending on how people want to vote and stuff, send a letter to the select board saying, we nominate these three people to fill the vacant slot and the slot that's opening up, soon, for Chris Dantas and Craig Pepin's position, something like that. And then we'll still have, when I leave in December, there'll still be a place for John Warwick if he wants it then, or if he wants to stay an associate, we can vote him in as an associate, or we can wait until next month to see how you want to handle it. But just to try to start getting people on board, I think would be good. And then once we have some new people on board, then to do an election of officers once people are in place. Right now, we're all sort of in transition. And
Janice?
Yeah.
Janice, this is Miriam. One thing I guess, and this might be an issue for my stepping onto the board,
Yeah.
is that if I'm going to be on the Concom, and I think there's a likelihood that that's going to happen, they regularly meet on Thursdays.
Right. Yeah.
And at 7 o'clock.
Mhm.
And they have no flexibility around that
Yep.
because they're scheduling public hearings. So I guess with the new membership configuration, I don't know what people's availability is for either an earlier meeting or Wednesday or a different night. I mean, I'm pretty flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
different
were
night.
meeting. Go ahead.
Make it a different night. I make a motion to make it a different night.
Yes, because normally Thursdays are not that good for Karen either. We just started out with a Monday and that didn't happen, and then it was a Wednesday and that didn't happen, and so I've just been trying to
Sounds
get
familiar.
another meeting in. But it's good to mention that, and I know that in general Thursday works for some people, but not for everybody, and I think the commission can work on there's especially flexibility while everything is still sort of Zoom, to find another night and another or afternoon, whatever works for people, and another time that can work. But yeah, it isn't that good to be on the same schedule as the Concom.
No, I can't do that.
I like to be able to attend the Concom meetings sometimes too. So we can work on that.
Can we make a motion to have it on Wednesday night?
Well, let's wait and see what works for people after we get people on board or after we get through going through the membership stuff. But we'll figure it out for whatever is a good night for people. Most of
Okay.
us are pretty flexible. Some have, things on and off, but we can find something that'll work for everybody, I'm sure. It's not that big a group to have to work on.
So just to know, I
Yeah.
can't do Wednesday.
Okay,
And also I found your email very, very helpful.
okay.
That I'm a visual person, and that like was really good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That's what works for me. I know some people go crazy
It
with
worked. Oh no,
Okay.
it worked great.
So I think what we could do, and we'll have to actually vote on this, but to maybe recommend to the select board, John Walter, Greg Calton, and Miriam DeFont for now for the 3 positions that are opening up or are open, the vacant and the 2 upcoming ones from Craig and Chris. And then when I leave in December, or if something happens and you need someone to take my place sooner, I can step down before then. But I figured I would try to stay till December and just, help with the transition and then go onward into the sunset.
So I have a question, if I may,
Sure.
and forgive me for not knowing, but there were 2 Johns, correct?
Yes.
Is John Walter the older of the 2?
Yes.
Because he really wants to come on, so I say we put him in. He's waiting.
Yes, and he did, he submitted a letter back in March, but never got
good.
confirmation from the select
See?
board. And then he
See?
sent another one in July, and he did send a copy to the Historical Commission, so I have a copy of that as well. So I
All right.
think he's first in the door, and then I think Greg, and then Miriam. So probably we'd work in that order, but fortunately unfortunately for missing Chris and Craig, but we'll have a couple positions opening up so that can be worked out.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sign off.
Yeah.
I would just, I'm flexible around scheduling. I guess, Janice, will you schedule
Yeah.
a meeting at the end of this meeting, or are you gonna do it by
Yes.
email?
Yeah, well, we'll probably check at the end of the meeting, and then I'll send it around by email to make sure it works for
Okay.
everybody, but we'll try to come up with a
Yeah.
date.
Generally, I can do any other day, evening or daytime. Well, daytime gets a little iffy. So evening would probably be preferred, and would prefer not to get a meeting scheduled on the high holidays, which are coming up.
Okay.
So
All
we
right.
could just be aware of that
When
calendar.
is that? So what are
Well,
those dates?
there's a few of them.
Oh, okay.
But I'm really interested in Rosh Hashanah. I'll have to pull up my calendar. But hang on a sec if you
Sure.
really need to know.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
think I just
helpful.
got kicked out. It is with the Jewish holidays, go to month. Okay, so Rosh Hashanah is on Friday, on the 18th. Don't worry
Okay.
about that. And Yom Kippur is also on a Sunday, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay.
Oh, so
Yes, we're
so
good to go.
Sunday? So
Yeah, it's fallen on weekends this year, so
oh, okay.
it's not a problem.
Okay, good. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody,
All right,
and
thanks.
see you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Miriam.
Bye-bye, everybody.
So I've been hogging all the conversation. So I'll let you guys, if you have questions, comments, or whatever about how you want to handle this. What do you think?
Okay, so yeah, so I think we should put a vote forward and put the 3 on, like give our recommendation for Miriam, John, and Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but you're saying something about that Craig and Chris have to resign. When are they resigning?
No.
Yep, as of the end of this meeting, I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Oh, there you are. I didn't even know you were here.
Hi, Mary Lou. Yeah.
She can't see the other people.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a
Okay.
This-
Just to give you the backstory, we're actually selling our house and moving back to Vermont. So
Wow.
it's going to be hard to attend meetings from 200 miles away. So,
Yes.
Well, you could, but it wouldn't be the same, and you wouldn't be able to help out on the commission quite
yeah.
as easily.
That's too
And-
bad. That's really too bad, Craig. I was hoping to share some Viking stories.
well,
My part of my family actually has a Viking ancestry.
oh,
Wow.
really?
My name is a Viking name.
Oh,
Wow.
Well, my middle name is Norwegian, so that gets me part of the way there, I guess. But yeah.
So while we're talking to Craig, can we talk about the tapes and like that generous offer that you made to digitize them? And oh, I'm sorry, was that supposed to go on the next agenda, Jan?
no,
Sorry.
we can do that on here, but let's just finish up with the membership stuff. But we won't let Craig
Okay.
leave until we've talked to him about it.
Okay.
And then Chris, do you want to just say a few words about what's happening with you?
Sure. Yeah, I've been on here, I don't know how many years now,
Oh,
4 or something like that. And with the whole COVID, kids home all the time and work situation, I really don't have the time to devote to staying on here that I feel I should spend. So I'll take a break. I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy to, if anybody, has archaeological questions, if I can still help.
Okay.
I'm available. I'm right down the street from you, Janice, and I'm right
Yes.
door to John Walter. So you know where to find me.
Okay.
So that also means, though, since I'm the CPC rep,
Oh, yeah.
I'm also going to be stepping down from there. So you'll need to pick a new person to be on the CPC.
can you tell us about that? What your position involves on the CPC, and what does CPC stand for again?
So there's a law called the Community Preservation Act, which takes a small percentage of property taxes and puts it into
Oh,
a historic preservation fund.
wow.
And the Community Preservation Committee looks over applications for use of those funds and makes sure that they are following the procedure, that they're projects that fit within the parameters of using that money. And so they meet year round and they review these various proposals, and then they either tell the select board that they don't meet the requirements, or they do, and those projects get included into the town meeting as to whether or not we support them or not.
Oh, and then the town votes?
Yeah, so the select board has to do something. I think either we just make recommendations and the select board decides whether or not to include those articles in the town meeting.
Wow. Okay.
So, but we're also trying to encourage people to come up with proposals and use that money, and the Historic Commission can do that as well.
Yes.
In the past, it's been kind of a passive sort of system. We just sort of wait and see if anybody shows up and has a proposal that they want CPA funds for. But
it goes up once a year, one time a year?
So there's a cycle, like they have to submit an application before the end of the calendar year, and then the CPC reviews it, and by the end of January, we talk to the applicants and make sure everything is, all the information that is there is needed. And that schedule ties into the usual schedule for the town meeting. So by March or something, we have to have the article ready to include in the town meeting warrant. So
I see.
there is a schedule. People can come forward if they have a special project that has some sort of deadline, they can come forward and say, hey, we can't fit within the usual calendar for an annual town meeting. And then
Right.
that would mean they'd have, we'd have to call a special town meeting, but it usually goes within the cycle. And the Community Preservation Committee is made up of designated representatives from a number of different committees in town. There's a Historic Commission representative, there's somebody from the Conservation Commission, there's somebody from,
Wow.
like, there's supposed to be somebody from the Housing Committee.
We have a housing committee
Well,
in
there's
Shutesbury?
supposed to be somebody from Parks Commission too, and we don't have a Parks Commission.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
but,
gosh.
there are a number of different representatives, and one of them is a designated person from the Historical Commission.
Very good. Can I ask one more question? Like about how much money do they distribute? Is there a certain
Well,
definite amount year after year?
No, there isn't. It really just depends what
Oh.
projects come forward. There is a lot of
Oh.
money in there. There's sort of a general fund that has several
Right.
$100,000 in it.
Right.
And then there are specific kind of other funds for the different types of projects that this act is supposed to support. Only some of the projects are like historic preservation related. Some of them are open space related. Some of
Right.
them are supposed to be like affordable housing related. So like last year, that new house that's going up on West Pelham Road
Habitat House?
is a Habitat for Humanity house, and they came and asked for some money to help support that, and so they did get money from the CPA funds for that.
Wow.
So there are different kinds of projects, and it really just varies from year to year. It just depends who shows up and what they want, for funds.
So
Thank
Chris,
you.
when's the next meeting? Do they have one
There-
scheduled?
There is a next meeting for a week from today. I thought I probably would go to that
Okay, good.
meeting, and then that would be my last meeting. That way I can, tell them I'm leaving and that there will be a new representative.
Okay.
Next.
So,
May I ask Chris, could you email me before that meeting? Is it a Zoom meeting? And put me on the
Yeah.
on the invite so that I can just watch you guys and maybe be the historic person.
Sure, I can send you the invite. Like these, it's a public meeting, so anybody can attend. So,
Okay.
it will of course be up to this committee to just, to
Of course.
decide who wants to be on there. So,
Right. Thank you.
sure.
good, thank you. So then, Chris, you'll wait till after the CPC meeting to send in your resignation?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I should probably go to that one.
That's good.
One meeting since it's just next week, and then
Yep.
That will be it for me.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. All right, so by the
So
next.
Janet,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, Janice. So if that's happening, it's for sure that Chris and Craig, yeah, are giving up their seat. I don't think we have to wait till they technically do it to put forth our recommendations to the select board.
Right.
Does that?
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's true, that we could vote tonight on the three of them and
Okay.
then send that recommendation to the select board and saying, there is one vacancy and there will be two more coming within the next couple weeks to fill
Exactly.
the other ones. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
So do we just need a motion at this point, or do we want to have any further discussion?
I make a motion.
I second the motion.
And that motion is to propose or recommend to the select board
Three.
yes, the three people, John Walter, Greg Carlton, and Miriam DeFont. Correct?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay.
Favor?
Did somebody second it?
Are
I
we
did.
doing?
Okay, thank you, Craig. All right.
Are
Any
we
further
doing-
discussion?
Oh,
We have a question, Mary Lou?
no.
Okay. I guess we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I heard Karen say aye as well. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, good. And then John Warwick, we can talk to you next meeting, and you can see, you know, how you'd like to go forward, and we could make you an associate now, or you can wait and, you know, fill my position in December or something. So you can think about, do you have an idea which way you'd rather go?
Yeah, I don't think we need to do anything official. I'm not in,
Okay.
I can attend regardless, so I'm not
Okay.
worried about it.
All right, thank you for your flexibility. Okay, folks, that's the toughest part. Now, before we lose Craig, Mary Lou, you wanted to talk about Craig's digitizing of the tapes. So Craig, how is that going? How many do you have? How many do you have left? What's happening?
Well, I got about a third of the way through the stack of 16, so I'm 5 for getting our house ready for sale, sort of
Oh, yeah.
occupied our spot. And I had to put away the stereo equipment to make the house all clean, and, you know, so there was nothing in it, not, or just dress it for sale, essentially. The good news is that we got an offer right away. And it was full price, and so now we have the purchase and sale agreement. So things are on track for us to sadly leave Shutesbury, but heading back to Vermont, where we lived for 16 years, and I have a lot of friends where we raised our children, and so we figured if my wife is going to keep her job at UMass, but since I was commuting from Vermont, we just thought that, well, if we're going to commute, one of us is going to commute anyways. We thought we'd head back to Vermont, where we have so much roots and so many relationships.
So now, is she going to actually have to commute in, or is she still, for now, going to be able to do it remotely?
Well, nobody's commuting to UMass right now. Of
Yeah.
course,
Oh,
so.
Okay.
So she's
far,
remote.
so good.
She'll be remote, and, you know, she's been remote like everybody has since March, and that'll continue at least until January, and who knows then. So maybe remote. At least for administrators in the spring as well. It's not clear exactly how that's going to work out. So, but I think everybody's getting used to Zoom meetings. So, you know, it's easier to have that kind of arrangement at work now. So,
yeah. So there was a question, Leslie Bracebridge, who sort of is the keeper of the keys and the keeper of the records, and is always very concerned about making sure we don't lose things and all. I guess based on some past experience, was asking about you returning the tapes before you leave. First of all, how soon do you think you're leaving?
we're scheduled to leave October 15th.
Oh, good. So there's still some time.
Still some time. I did email Leslie privately and let her know that I was prepared to try to finish the job, but I recognize that, you know, she probably has justifiable concerns about archival materials, and if it gave her more peace of mind to pick them up on Sunday as she offered, then she could come by and pick them up, and I would get as far as I could, but maybe hopefully somebody new on the board would have a little bit of facility with that, and maybe take over the job. So I left it up to her. You know, I was hoping she'd let me hang on to them for another couple of weeks so I could maybe finish them up, but
Okay, so then may I say, it seems like between you and Leslie, you made a decision. Do you want us as current commissioners to have any say in that, or you just, I mean, because I find it personally a bit confusing that it wasn't presented. I mean, I thought Leslie wasn't a commissioner, number one. Number two, it's such a huge decision like that. I was surprised it didn't come to us all.
I don't think it's really a commissioner decision, because I think those records are part of the town.
Yeah.
So as Leslie is the one who's most responsible for those records, I would respect her wishes, essentially. So and you know, I just wrote back. I said I'm a historian by training. I have I've worked in archives for many years, and I understand and deeply respect the importance of primary documents like that are, you know, irreplaceable.
Exactly.
So, but I would be willing to do what she preferred. So I hope that she'll say, okay, keep them for another week or so and finish them up. But if she is
So
more
is there any,
comfortable. And I think like Janice said, I got the impression that she probably had examples of, you know, materials like that walking off or getting lost. And so it's very, very understandable. So I'm fine with whatever she wants to do. So
I think that's okay. I think you two can work it out and feel comfortable. And Leslie was the town clerk for many, many, many years here in Shutesbury and is familiar and careful with archiving and record keeping, and also on the historical commission for a long time. And she has the most knowledge of where everything is and what everything is in our collection. So I usually work with her, but I just had another question today from someone who wanted to know what member of the Pratt family in 1913 held an office in town. So I send that on to Leslie, and she either already knows or she quickly finds the right file, gets the information, and usually takes a picture on her phone and then sends it to the person with the question. So this person is writing a biography about someone, I don't know anyway, but so she's really valuable for our operation at this point, because no one knows the records like she does. And I think that I certainly trust Craig, I trust Leslie, and between the two of them, they can work out whatever arrangement they feel is best. And how are those,
I know
how are those recordings coming
worked hard on getting some of the verbal tapes and made arrangements. I can remember ages ago she started that.
Yes, and that's what you're doing, Craig, right? They're audio tapes that you're...
Yeah, they're audio tapes. The ones that I've been doing thus far all date to 1978.
Wow.
So are you transferring them onto a CD? How are you digitizing them?
I'm creating them as digital media, and then how they're stored is I was going to make multiple copies. We could
okay, so can we just note that I'm a tinge confused by this, and it doesn't rest well with me. And the fact that we have, I feel like we're letting go of something really that we may not come across again. Because when Kristen was in our group, she also spoke about, quote unquote, and I'm computer illiterate, so I can barely even say the word digitize. And we all were like, wow, yay, wow. And then and we lost Kristen. And here we have now a second opportunity, and I don't get it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, I think
okay. And also one more thing. You're saying town property. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
And then and I also just found out that we have an office in the town hall, which I didn't know. So okay, so maybe that's where they were kept. All right, then maybe this will help clear things for me. Did Leslie personally make these recordings?
Yes.
Okay, well, that might be a little different.
I think some of them were. They're in the old town hall.
Oh, wow.
And, right. And that's where the office is. There's a small room in the old town hall, which has just been used to store some of these tapes, a whole bunch of other records. And I've been there several times with Leslie, and she is irreplaceable right now. I can't stress enough how valuable her expertise and her knowledge is in preserving those records. So I may have misspoke that I don't know exactly what the ownership of those records is. I just know that they're there in the old town hall.
Right.
and there's a room which are their copies of records. They're not the town records, which are separate. These are separate files, which have, I think Leslie mostly has created over the years to sort of keep track of certain things. So I would probably, I don't know exactly who's responsible for them. It's probably informally Leslie. So.
So when we had a historical commission meeting back in the days when we could meet in person, Greg, I think you and maybe John, I don't think you were able to be at that one, but you said that you have some technical ability. And Greg, I think you said you thought also you might be able to do some of this kind of work.
Possibly, and I think it's work that should go ahead, even with Craig in Vermont. So possibly, Craig, you could advise on the software you're using and whatnot, and hardware. Sure. We can figure out who should carry it forward.
Yeah. So there were other people, Mary Lou, that are much more technically able than we are, that we can hope to find and help. And we may be getting some of them on the commission, and that would be wonderful too.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see what happens with that, but I'm glad, Craig, that you were able to get started with that and to sort of figure out the process with the equipment that you had. And now that your house is sold and you're already semi-packed, you might have some time to get some more of that done, and that would be nice too.
Well, I've got to pull the stereo back out again now that we passed inspection. So
stereo is bad for house sales.
Well, when it's just sitting on the shelf next to the computer and by the window, it's a matter of cleaning up. You know how it goes. You want to
look tidy,
make everything look tidy and as spare looking as possible. So
sounds like it worked.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, it did. So.
Well, congratulations to you, but we will miss having you here. Okay, so let's see. And another thing, let's go back maybe to back to the agenda, if that's okay with people, and go back down things that we've missed so far. Starting with, maybe I'll just do a quick update on the gravestone restoration project and also on the workshop. So I emailed Mary Lou back because I know she had been interested and she mentioned it. The gravestone repair or whatever workshop for volunteers was going to be this Saturday, but it was really on short notice, and it turned out that a lot of the people that we thought might or would be good to have available weren't able to come this Saturday. It was just, we just decided that a week ago. Yeah, it's too soon. So Walter Tibbetts, who's the chair of the Cemetery Commission, is going to talk with our contractor who's been working on the gravestones at the West Cemetery and find a new date. It'll probably be October. And it probably, again, still be a Saturday, but we'd be happy to have any of you folks who are interested in doing it participate. There'll be a general session. Right now, we were looking at putting it in the fire station where you can spread people out at a social distance, and then to limit the number of people as well, just so that, again, we don't have a problem with too many people too close together. Masks, of course, and everything too. But I will let you know as soon as we come up with a new date, and anyone who's interested will make sure that you'll be able to participate if you'd like to. And so anyways, that's the workshop. And in the meantime, we did hire, her name is Tamara Condi, and she works for Historic Gravestone Services, and she's out of New Salem, which is really nice to have a local person. Yes, and she's fabulous. And so she and her husband have been out there working on it. And if you go to the back of the West Cemetery, because of the 18 stones that we're looking at for now are all in the back there, you'll be able to tell them right away because they clean them all with a special cleaner called D3 that just gets rid of all the blackness and the fungi and stuff. So they're very bright white. And also they're straight up now. There were a lot that were leaning badly, and now they're back up straight. And there were a few that still need, they're the taller ones that still need the urn put back on top or something like that. But they're doing the basic work of reestablishing the base, making them level, doing repairs if they're broken or cracked or whatever, and doing a cleaning. And so I don't know if they're halfway. I think they're more than halfway through with it from when I talked to her a week or so ago. And it's looking really nice. And she's due to be finished, I think, by the end of October, somewhere around there. So you can always stop by and just sort of drive around the back, and you'll be able to see some of them right away. And I don't know her schedule. She sort of has a variable schedule. So I've met her there, but other times I've gone and she's not there. But anyway, it's worth taking a look at. It's nice, and we're hoping to be able to, what we'd like to do with the Cemetery Commission is establish a certain amount every year, because there are a lot of stones that are either badly tilting, broken, chipped, or face down or face up on the ground. So we'd like to work on getting all of that straightened out. And right now it's the ones in back that we're working on, and then we'll work on the ones in front.
That would be great if you had somebody in place, and if you could keep, if Shutesbury could keep coming up with some money every year.
Yeah.
Chip away at it. And
yeah, and some of it is actually through the CPC funding now, and that's what we'd like to do is to be able to match some of what the Cemetery Commission has for funds with some CPC money to be able to keep this going forward.
How many headstones are there in that cemetery? Do you know offhand?
I don't know. I'm not sure. A lot.
And are you in contact with any of the families? And I have one more question. Are people still being buried in there?
Well, yes, we're not in contact with the families, but what I'm hoping that we'll be able to do is put the pictures of the cleaned gravestones on the Cemetery Commission website with the names of the person, and that people maybe in the course of Googling and doing, and maybe I'll do find a grave or whatever, but so that if there are people that are related, they'll be able to find it. It's an opportunity to do that. But the in terms of, yes, there are still available plots, so people are still being buried there, as well as we have a new green burial section, which is also being used.
Okay, and is it a specific denomination? Is it related? What church is it related to?
None. It's just a town cemetery.
Okay, but before that, were they Baptists?
No, I don't think there was. I'm not aware of any church affiliation. It was a town cemetery, not a church one.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, so that's happening. And quite several years ago, the Historical Commission agreed to put $1,000 into the project. So that will finally, it's been on the books all that long, so that will finally get used, as well as the community preservation funds, and then that little grant that I got from the state for the SHRAB grant for the veterans gravestones, as well as painting the war memorial. And I sort of lost track of, I've been moving for a month. My computers have been available and unavailable, and it's been crazy. So I got behind on getting the painting of the war memorial organized, and I'm getting back on track. I have to get 2 more vendors estimates and stuff like that, but I hope to get that done in the next month or 2 as well.
Where is the war memorial? Inside the West Cemetery?
No, it's right on the town common. It's the
that
3-piece
one.
wooden one with the glass front. Yep.
Okay.
So that's the one that will get done. And then I mentioned before that what's called the guide board, that sort of rectangular wooden structure with the names of towns and directions on it, that one needs to get painted too. And so I'm asking for an estimate. We don't have the money at this point, but I'm asking for an estimate on how much it would cost. And it would be good for something either for historical, or maybe historical and community preservation or something. I don't know how much it'll cost. I'm guessing it'll be under $1,000, but I really have no idea yet. But those are just a couple of things that are going to be coming up. And let's see. then maybe next, the approval of the minutes to get them done so the town clerk doesn't get on my back. Did you folks have a chance to read through the minutes? And Mary Lou, I think you had a correction you wanted me to make.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because the way the statement is, I seem to be giving the okay, but
That's what I thought, and I'm sorry if I
That's
misrepresented
okay.
that. Where is
But-
that? What page is that on?
But I'm not. It's the third page,
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like right before the end.
Oh, under the field trip. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So what did you want me to say instead?
Well, I don't know if you could just see. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It said
uh,
Mary Lou said she thought it would be okay for Historical Commission to see some of these sites and it could be helpful.
Mary Lou thinks it's a good idea, or
Okay.
something, or that it would be helpful. Is
Okay.
it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
I know. Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that when Rolf was going forward and asking for help, with the select board, somebody vandalized one of them. So he was, yeah. And so he was really unsteady about saying anything about where any of them are.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I just think it would be helpful for us all to go out there, because it's incredible, especially, that they when you're told what animal they are and you stand there for a long time, you can see it in the in the rock formation. It's really a moving event.
Yeah, and I will admit that I was a total skeptic before I was on the Historical Commission and began
Yeah.
seeing these. I just thought, this is
Yes.
a lot of nonsense. I just totally was blind,
My husband Michael, off of Route 202, he told me there's another one in there, and I'm like, oh sure, Michael, now you're just getting out of control with these. But we pulled over and we went in the woods and we found another one. So they're there. Okay.
So we can talk a little later about the other thing on the agenda, whether to do a field trip or not, and whether you think that is appropriate or not to do that. You could be thinking about that, Mary Lou, since you're more in touch with Rolf than certainly I am on that sort of thing.
Yep. So for a field trip, Janice, could we ever go look at that house down? Do you know the state is putting it up? The Carol Holmes.
Oh yes, the Bennett house.
And you know what they're saying? If you have resources and the ability, you can get it leased if you help restore it.
Yes.
They're saying something like that.
Yeah.
That would be a dynamite project I would work on.
We had someone a couple of years ago who was interested and came to us and asked if we would be able to help with funding and stuff like that. But it was a very expensive project and it ended up not being something that he could take on. So the DCR does do that once in a while. They put out requests for people interested in restoring a historic structure in return for them being able to lease it and use it for some appropriate purpose for I don't know how many years, but probably enough to make it worthwhile. But it still ends up being very expensive. And I don't know if we can get in there. I suppose we could try talking to the DCR and see if you want a tour. I don't know how much they'll give a tour. The house was a disaster.
Have you been in it? Have you
a long
seen
time
it?
ago? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right after Millie left.
You knew the woman who lived there?
Yeah, Mrs. Bennett. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So the person who came to us, wasn't he a relative?
I think there was. I think there was some relationship. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm hoping that they do put that out there again and people can, maybe someone will be interested. It would be really nice. So
it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
photographed the doors quite often.
Uh-huh. So were there any other corrections or comments on the minutes from July 20th, sorry? No? Then can I have a motion to approve them with the corrections that Mary Lou mentioned?
So moved.
Who
I
did that?
second it.
Was that Craig?
Yep.
Okay, Craig and Karen, okay. Any further comments? Nope, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. And
I'm
I.
afraid- So I'm afraid I have another engagement at
Yes.
8 that I have to depart for. I mentioned
Okay.
it to Janice ahead of time, so that's going to have to be my last motion for the Historical Commission. So
Oh,
I just want to say thanks, everyone. It's been a wonderful 2.5 years working with you all. I've really enjoyed it and getting to know you. And very, very sorry that it can't continue, but good luck in all things future. And I hope to get down to Shutesbury again sometime. So,
all right, thank you, Craig.
okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Trails
everybody.
to you, Craig.
Good luck, Craig.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. So the next one on the list is locating reference materials on CSLs. And because of my move, my computer's set up again, but the printer is not scanning. I tried to do that today. It prints, but it doesn't scan. So I haven't figured that out. They replaced my computer at work, and that scanner wasn't working either. So I've been having a frustrating month, but I will get to scan the things that Mary Lou had given me. And Mary Lou, I should
Yeah.
get the original stuff back to you. And how can I do that?
Oh, I'm not worried.
Okay.
Leave it in the HC mailbox. I'm not, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not allowed into the town hall.
At
except-
all? Oh, I didn't know that either.
No, I did go in during town meeting. When town meeting is on and back, then
Right.
the town hall is open. I went upstairs and that's how I got our mail.
I see.
So I could put it there. I could ask them to put it in there, and then you could come over and ask the town clerk to get it out for you, the red folder.
Yep. Or you could, well, hang it on my mail pole. I know that we're not supposed to put stuff in a mailbox. I used to deliver the mail, and they trained us if we saw something to pull it out and put it on the ground. So,
Oh
but
boy.
they
Well,
did.
we can figure that out, I guess, off screen or whatever. We'll
Alrighty,
figure out a way to
thank you.
get that back to you. So I
Yep.
am still definitely interested in that in terms of, Mary Lou, thank you for the email that you forwarded about, I don't know how you say it, the OSAE or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I found that online.
Yeah, and I really liked the first video where Rolf was talking about sacred structures or whatever in Shutesbury.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys haven't seen that, it's really, I think, for me, it's very interesting that this is specifically Shutesbury, and some of the pictures are really neat. And I had no idea sort of the relationship of Shutesbury to Great Falls to other areas in the area. And it's definitely worth looking at. It's not that long. It's maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, something like that at the most. It's basically sort of a PowerPoint. But it was very interesting, and I didn't get a chance to look at the others yet. But I think everybody got that. Did you send that to our new people as well, Mary Lou?
I don't think
did?
I have their emails. I'm sorry. Yeah. So
I'll forward that.
good.
Okay. Okay, so we'll do that. So there was a list of things, just sort of some background and other information on CSLs, which is one word that people use, the ceremonial stone landscapes. I guess stone prayers is another one for the particular structures, stone groupings. I don't know, Chris, is there another sort of specific name or different names that people use?
No, I think you got it there, Janice. I know Doug Harris from the Narragansetts often calls them stone prayers,
Okay,
but also talks about ceremonial stone landscapes. So
okay.
Can I ask Chris something? Oh, sorry, Henry.
Yeah, just a quick question. Point of clarification. There's been a call for resources on CSLs, correct? And that's what
Yes.
Mary Lou has been reported back. Is there a call also for reference material, books, articles, and that kind of thing? And if so,
Yes.
I have some ideas that I could forward.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly because I believe that the larger context of this, of course, is the narratives that emerge since the arrival of Europeans to make Native people invisible, and which
That's right.
directly influence how we perceive these relics going back to the first contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I found some really interesting books on this.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Recently written books, scholarly books.
Good.
It's called what?
No, the
The
title.
author? Oh, I'm sorry. The author?
Yeah, I'll forward it to you. It's a book
Okay.
that the title is something like "Firsting and Lasting," something to that effect. It's a.
Oh,
Wow.
I would be very interested. I'm trying to collect books for myself to educate myself, but also I suggested maybe having some readable reference books for the general public in the town library. So for those who may have an interest in exploring that a little bit, to have some materials that we feel represent it well, and buy some of these materials to put into the library. And Marianne had said she'd be willing. They have a very tiny sort of like town historical section at this point. So that's something that I would like to see too. And then we can discuss that a little further. And I'll get you guys, the new people, the list, and somehow get Mary Lou's stuff scanned so that you can look at that. And Henry, whatever you send, you can send to all of us too if you want.
Sure.
And Rolf had a list, but I couldn't track down some of those. And Mary Lou, I think, was able to find one or two of those at least, articles, published articles on it. So it's part of just sort of trying to assemble some of this information in a place where we can all read it and learn from it, as well as to have some of it available, it ever seems reasonable, to the public through the library.
Very good.
Okay, so that's sort of like part of locating reference materials and possible purchase. We're sort of still working on. I know I'm slugging along, but when I have technical difficulties, it slows me down even more. I don't know if we need to get into scenic roads and stuff tonight. Sometimes I put these things on just to keep them as a placeholder or a reminder, and I'll try to be more organized for next month to get back on board with discussing this. And it really is a multi-month process to put something forward to the town for our annual town meeting. So it's really like, it's almost like now is a good time to get started. I should first talk to the planning board, see how they feel about things, then start working on informational sessions with the public. Certainly you have to talk to the select board just to let them know what you're interested in doing and get feedback. And having done some of this with wetlands bylaws before, sometimes it takes several public meetings to get questions and answers, to find out what the resistance is, to try to work out some kind of compromise to be able to get something forward. And for the scenic roads, we're looking both at Don Wakaluk, the tree warden, had come in and said something about some mature trees are being lost in all this
Mhm.
utility work that's going on? And is there a way to protect some of these really lovely, large, maybe historic trees? But how do we know what their background is or how old they are and stuff? And then also for me, it's the stone walls and sometimes other stone features that may be close enough that they fall under scenic roads. It's usually just, I don't know if it was 10 or 15 feet on either side of the roadway. But then also to be able to expand that into something along the lines of what Rolf had presented, but it was a little too last minute. Several years ago at annual town meeting, something to preserve the Native American stone artifacts that are scattered on our landscape. A lot of them are on public land, and that first video that Mary Lou had sent talks about that I think he says something, only another 10% of conservation is needed to protect these important structures in town. So a lot of it's on DCR or town land already, but they don't have specific protection in most cases. So it's part of that big picture still. It doesn't have to be the only thing we do, but I think it's certainly would be appropriate for the historical commission to sort of be working on that. That's sort of a topic as well, and whatever you folks think is workable, but possibly a town bylaw of some kind that could help protect these features if they can be identified and mapped in at least a general way. So I'll try to, so this, whether it's a scenic roads or whether it's a separate warrant article and bylaw or policy, you can discuss and figure out. But I had some materials back several months that I handed out, but we don't do handouts anymore. So I'll find or make digital copies, scans of them, and send them out as a package or something, so you can start looking it over and thinking about it and seeing what might work.
Good.
Okay, so then maybe to get back to field trip, I've seen a number of different sites in town. I'm not an expert, so I can't say for sure what they represent, but they're certainly not just piles of stones left by settlers. And so there are some on public land that are pretty easy to get to. And I was wondering whether we should try something like that, but then I want to make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes or trying to represent myself as any kind of expert or anything. I mean, for me, I look at these things and I say, wow, these are just really cool. Obviously, somebody made them. And it's not for me to determine their purpose or maybe even who made them, but they're still very worth protecting. So that's sort of where I start. The one that I thought might be, one site that I thought might be fairly easy to get to, at least it has good parking and it's not a very long walk, is you start right at the bottom of the hill at that, at the Quabbin Gate at the bottom of Cooleyville Prescott Road. So we could meet there and walk in. If you guys wanted, if you want to do something like that. I think it may be a mixed site. I think there may be, you know, sort of colonial influence as well as Native American. To begin, I am not at all an expert, but it seems not typical of colonial.
Wow.
So is it moving towards into the Quabbin, or is it up the hill from
It's moving to, it's on the east side of 202.
Okay.
So it's on that side, although there were some fantastic ones across the street and along the south side of Prescott Road.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like stone piles or what, Janice?
Well, some of them are boulders with other stones placed on top, and some are, you know, some of these are pretty large, heavy stones that have been placed together. Then there's also like a stone dam, which I figured was colonial, but now I'm told that sometimes Native Americans may have built, you know, small sort of stone rows, stone walls across a wet area. So I don't know, but it isn't like the typical colonial foundation or anything like that. So it's interesting, even if I don't know what it is. And Chris, I mean, you could probably interpret some of that much better than I could from, you know, approximately what time period does this come from or whatever. It's just a really cool site and something to think about or to look at. So what do you think? What do you guys want to do or not want to do? It's fine by me any way you want to do it.
I'm for it. I think it'd be interesting to go out there.
Yeah.
Here.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Great if you would come.
What?
Chris, it would be great if Chris would come and give his
Yeah, it depends when it is. I could come. I've done that trail from, I think that's gate 16 at the bottom of the hill.
Well, it's we call it 16X because 16 is actually a little to the north, the official 16, but it's
Right.
related to 16. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have done that walk. I'd be curious to see what, you know, I think I did it with my kids, so I wasn't really looking for
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
It's just off the trail. And actually, when you're at the site, you can look up and see Route 202.
wow.
Mm,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So it's neat. So I don't know where my calendar is at the moment. Generally, a Saturday or Sunday is good. I don't know. I could do another day of the week too, most likely, not Tuesdays. But I think last time we did a Saturday morning, was it, when we went out and about?
Yeah.
Does that work for people, for those who are interested?
Looks for
It
me.
works. Same here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Saturday sounds good if I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what day are we now? This is the 10th. Okay. I won't do it to you this week because it's too close, I assume. Or does anyone want to do it this Saturday?
No, I can't.
Okay. I already have something going on the 19th. We could try for the 26th if you
That
want to do
works.
that. Yeah.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay.
September.
Yes, September 26th. And what time is good for people?
I'm
Whatever
flexible.
works. Yeah, whatever works.
Like 10, or is that too early, too late, or?
Works for me.
So 9 or 10. It sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's try for 10 a.m. on September 26th, Saturday. And it's just the parking lot when you go straight down the hill east from center of Shutesbury. It's Prescott, Cooleyville Road, whatever it's called at that point, and it's that parking lot right at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have any questions or whatever, email me. I will try to send you a couple photos. How's that? I'll send you a few photos to get you interested.
Oh, that is great.
I'm interested.
Okay. And it isn't a very long, and you do walk off the trail, but it's not too bad. But if it's wet at all, it does, if you want to cross over to the site, it's a little more difficult unless you have boots on. But it's been fairly dry recently, so I don't think it'll be much of a problem. But just as a warning, it might be helpful. Okay.
Right.
All right. Any other projects that we want to talk about right now? Or any other business at this point that you want to bring up?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Well, I
Yeah.
have one thing
Yeah.
that I was very interested in. When you drive through Leverett and you find those signs and they say, you know, this is a historic
District or
place.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be really awesome if Shutesbury would do that. I guess that would be another involved project, but yeah, I've been interested in that.
Chris,
doing-
how does that work? Are they historic districts? Do we have that, or what's the story there?
Well, we do have, I think it's 7 local historic districts in Shutesbury.
Oh.
Yep.
There's no signage, Mary Lou, of course.
I know.
And, that is something that people can do. It doesn't, it's not cheap. Those signs are more expensive than you think, but
yeah,
it's, that's a nice use of historic funds to get people to, know about some of these things that they otherwise wouldn't know of. I'm not exactly sure how you do that.
And
but
that's a CPA type project too, right? A CPC
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that we could check. You could check the eligibility of that and see if that's possible.
Who has the list of those 7 sites?
Sorry, what was that, Craig?
Who has the list of those 7 sites?
I can put together a list.
That would be
that
great.
Information not in list form right now, but
okay.
Actually I can look on my map here and see if let me see if there's something.
I'm sorry, Janice. You have a Shutesbury map you're looking at, Chris?
Well, I have this map program that I use that has a lot of information on it.
I see.
And, here it is. So, yeah, there, just quickly here, I see I guess I have 6 of them on here. There's the Shutesbury Center District,
right.
Right around the town hall and Wendell Road and that area. There's a district at the southern end of Pratt Corner Road called Pratt Corner Road Farm. There were some old farms there.
Yep.
Cemetery down there.
There's a district up at Temenos.
Oh.
Wow.
There's one around Lake Wyola. There's a separate one for Lake Wyola State Park. I'm not sure really why there's 2.
Yeah.
And then there's a big one for related to the Quabbin Reservoir. It's the whole kind of Shutesbury shore of the Quabbin Reservoir.
Wow.
Those are the districts. And there are forms for those that are filed with the Mass Historical Commission. And I have copies of all those if those are publicly available forms. So there's some information on those.
Okay, and does that give us an idea of where the boundaries are so we'd be able to get a sense of where to put a sign?
Yeah, the boundaries are pretty easily available. Sometimes the forms are not that great, but they're, Janice, do you remember when I showed you that Macris website?
Yes, yep, I figured it's there.
Yeah, so the boundaries are on there. That's something that anybody can, if you kind of focus in on Shutesbury, it will show you district boundaries in there.
Can you maybe send that link to everybody?
Sure.
And if you just do a reply all from like my last agenda, I think it'll include Greg and John and the other John and everyone else as well. And I can print something out for Karen.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I think that's a neat idea.
Oh, sorry. Was that Karen?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying something more.
No, I just thanks for remembering me.
So if we got as far as all of us on board, then does that have to be an article too, and then go to town meeting? Because I'm just starting to understand, the whole of town government. Does anybody know?
Yes, well, it was sort of like what Chris mentioned earlier. First, if you want any community preservation committee Preservation Act money from the committee, you have
Right.
to do an application form. They review it, you
Right,
discuss
right,
it,
right,
that gets
right.
voted, and then it does go to town meeting, annual
Oh,
town meeting,
okay.
and there's a list of projects for that town meeting to vote on. So we
Okay.
would need to get, we know there's 6 signs. Maybe they do more if you do them from 2 different sides of town. I don't know. We'd have to figure out how much they would cost, what they should say, use Leverett as an example or something.
Okay.
And then go through the process. But it would be a good thing. I think it'd be a nice visible bit of education that would be nice for town.
Definitely.
Okay, so
Okay.
good. I think that's a nice idea. All right, so I think that's it. People want to try to figure out, should we try to, how should we figure out another meeting date? What do you folks think?
Okay, so any evening is good for me except for Wednesday.
Okay,
And it seemed like Thursday won't work for Miriam.
and Karen,
So,
Won't work for me either, really.
yeah,
and Karen too, that's right. That's right. So we have Monday, Tuesday, or Friday.
yeah,
Can't
stay
do
away from,
Tuesday because of the commission.
What
But
is
the town-
Tuesday?
Town meeting Tuesday nights for selectmen.
yes, but they're not every Tuesday, and we don't necessarily end up on the same have
Okay.
overlap on that. I think we were trying for Monday as a night that tended to work. Now, Henry, you have certain times. Is it on Monday that you're not available until?
Well, I am busy until roughly 6:30. I could, but the other
Yeah.
thing is that I put my name in for the planning board as an
Oh.
interim member.
Oh, cool.
So that may be an issue. I think they meet on Mondays. That's the night.
I
don't
think so
remember.
too.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not
yeah, I've been to their meetings on Mondays, and they have met in the past on Mondays.
Okay.
And they meet at 7. But who's to say? I mean, I will know shortly if that is going to be happening.
Good. Well, we could try for Tuesdays. I just can't do second Tuesdays, and I won't be on that long anyway. But does Tuesday night work otherwise for people?
Yes.
Works for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
it'll be okay for me now.
Okay, so Tuesday, if we made it Tuesday, October 20th,
Mhm.
that's far enough ahead that so far that seems okay.
That seems okay. In the meantime, Janice, are we going to form, I mean, we made a vote, so then is somebody going to form a letter to give
Yes.
to select board?
Yep.
Okay.
They said it's usually the chair, but it can be the secretary. So I will do that letter saying that this is what we voted on and this is what's going to happen, and recommend these people be appointed to the historical commission.
Okay, can you send that to us before you give it to select board?
Yep.
Do you mind?
That's fine.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what time is good? 7 o'clock, okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
7 works. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so Tuesday, October 20th, 7 p.m. We'll go for that. And this could be a chance some of you guys at least will finally get on board. All right. Thank you. I know it's been a long meeting. I'm sorry to be hogging all of this talking, and
No.
you got to learn to just
Thank you, Janice,
butt in more.
thank you, Janice, for getting
Yep.
this together, and for your support material that was sent out. It's very, very, very official and thorough.
Oh, thank you.
And helpful, yes, honestly, especially your color coding.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Janice.
thank you. And
It's a
thank you,
lot of work
Henry.
you do,
for
so,
hosting.
I appreciate your effort there.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna hold on to you for another week or two at least.
All right.
I may be bugging you with a few more questions.
Oh, sure, anytime.
All right. All right. Thank you all, especially Henry, for setting this up, hosting it or whatever, getting it to work. Thank you very much. And hope to see you all October 20th then.
Okay.
All righty.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All
all.
right. Or
Bye.
before, actually.
Care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And
Bye.
I don't know how to hang off.